Right, hello everyone. Hello, I'm live. Hello. We'll be finishing up my Star Fox fan art. All right, so I'm going to be doing this in Procreate with my iPad Pro and Apple Pencil 2, and I do have my artist glove here that makes it easy for me to slide my hand across the screen of the iPad. And I do have my photo reference right here because I am going to finish Falco, Peppy, and Slippy, which are my last remaining ones. In my part one, I did it on my other channel, my video game channel, The Lens of Truth, and that's where I did Crystal and Fox. So I will be replaying a quick time-lapse feature from this iPad. Let's look at the time lapse. Get that easy to see. We'll zoom in a little bit. Go. Welcome everyone to the stream. Welcome. So I've had this Star Fox drawing for so long, but I always wanted to fix it and make it a lot better because it was a little bit blurry. It was super blurry. Star Fox time. All right, so look at the replay of this because it does look pretty cool when the time lapse feature is on. All right, so I do like looking at this. Kind of go back and forth. I was especially focusing on Crystal and Fox's face right. I just felt like it needed to look a lot better and a lot closer to the reference photo. So it's a bit of a mixture. All right, we need to make this room a little bit brighter. All right. So, okay, so I'm gonna start working on, let's just start working on Falco. All right, so I do want to look into all of the details that are here. All right, so you have Crystal. I really like the way she turned out. Added a bit more fur textures, I made the blacks darker. Just added some more details into her armor. All right, so I'm gonna add another layer and work on Falco. Here is my reference photo, which I'm gonna have off to the side. We'll be zooming into Falco. And he is gonna have a combination of, put it here to this. And here he is right here. And he's not going to be as detailed as I would like him to because he is to the sides. He doesn't really need to be that detailed. I'm going to make a little bit higher. Right there, hopefully you guys can see me a lot easier. Do this thing. Okay, so I'm going to use my liquefy. I'm going to start by using the liquefy. So I can kind of manipulate the original drawing. There you go. So I can kind of just pull and stretch as I need to go. I feel like I need to fix his beak a little bit more. Moving this to the side. This here, a lot easier to see this. There you go. Way easier to see. There you go. That's, look at Falco. So I'm gonna fix his beak. This has been bugging me. So I'm gonna use the clone tool actually instead first. I'm gonna clone some of the background and just start erasing. Start just cloning some of this. I'm gonna make his neck a little bit thinner. What it is cloning anything that I selected. All right, so I'm gonna actually make his beak a bit pointier as well. But that's been bugging me. It's really been bugging me. All right, cool. I'm gonna zoom into his beak. Right now, I'm gonna make his beak from here a little bit smaller. Let's see, I'm gonna choose a smaller airbrush. Just smaller airbrush. And I'm gonna add just more blue in here. So I feel like he's gonna have to have at least some blue. So I'm just gonna go ahead and paint some of this. I'm gonna paint some of this blue as a regular paintbrush. I'm gonna select the blue that I've had here and just start going in. All right, that's looking a little bit better. Looking so much better. I'm gonna make it a bit more striking when it comes to making him look a little bit angrier. So these feathers, I'm gonna make them a little bit smaller. I'm gonna cut into them really good. I'm gonna make this part of his beak a little bit slimmer because I feel like it was a little bit too. Oh, that's looking so much better. I will be reducing the size of his beak as well. I feel like I'm just gonna make that a little bit. I'm gonna completely redo his I'm just gonna completely redo his nostril just to make it a little bit higher. And I'm gonna add some highlights in his beak as well. Okay, that's a little bit too much. I'm gonna drastically reduce that. I'm gonna try and make him not to be so freaking angry looking, so smug. Not too much. I do want to use the liquefy tool again and just stretch out his beak. And that way I'm just going to make him look like he's smiling instead. I'm going to pull this and make it look a little bit bigger than what it used to be. And I do want to make him a little bit. I'm going to push down some of his. There you go. All right, that looks better. That looks a lot better. All right, so now we're going to try and fix and add some more details in his jacket. We're going to add some detail in his jacket. Just everywhere, actually. So. And actually, I'm going to cut a little bit off of the eye because that's a little bit weird. All right, so zoom out. I'm gonna do the time lapse one more time. Let's see how far we've gone just within these right here. All right. Welcome everyone. Welcome, welcome. All right, so let's zoom in. Okay, it's a very blurry, but okay, let's put the glove back on. Back on. That's easier. See? I'm gonna fix his eyes. His eyes his eyes need a lot of work. All right, so I'm gonna add more black in his eye. He needs a little bit more black in his eye. And then I'm gonna clean it up a bit with the red. Make it thinner in the bottom part of his eye. And then with the orange, I'm gonna come back in as well. Adding some shadows where it needs to be. And then I'm gonna make sure his eyes are green and just make it a lot more visible. So make sure he's staring at us. And make sure it's a darker green on the bottom. It needs to be a lot bigger. It needs to be way bigger. And his pupil needs to be darker, obviously. And I'm gonna add some white highlight. And there you go, that looks way better. That looks super clean. And I will be adding that gadget to his eye as well. That eye thing that he had. Again, I'm going to be using the liquify tool to make things a little bit bigger. All right, cool. Now let's add that gadget that he has. Same one that Fox had. I'm gonna just select the same green that I used. I'm gonna make it as subtle as I can. Do a few highlights. And there we go. All I needed. All I needed. Okay, now he's looking a lot better. Now he's looking a lot better. All right, there you go. We made him look less angry. Yeah, I like the way that his face looks now. Love the way that his face looks. All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. Welcome everyone to the stream. Welcome, welcome. Just drawing some Star Fox fan art. I'm working on Falco. And I will be trying to finish out, yeah, Falco, Peppy, and Slippy. And I do have Fox and Crystal already from my last stream on my other gaming channel. So go ahead and check that one out. And I do have it named Light Lab Wars, because this one's kind of like the play, what it was called in Europe. It wasn't called Star Fox. It was called Light Lab Wars in Europe. And I did work on the R-Wing the other day too. Made it a little bit more detailed. But you know what? Now that I'm here, this one needs a little bit more of a flare. A little bit more of a light trail going to see if it adds something. See? So this light pen, let's see if this adds, there you go. There you go, that makes it look a little bit brighter. Right? Alright, so now that I have Fox ready, I feel like Fox needs to have a bit more black. This makes him look too much like a cat. All right, it's all good. Now let's go back to Falco, and I think I will be working on his legs as well because it does need something. Let's add that patch that he has. I'm gonna add that patch, the Star Fox patch on him. right, we're gonna make it a little bit darker. Give it some depth, because it looks so it can look like a patch. And we're gonna add some shadows underneath his elbows and his clothing. So see what I used for Fox. Add some stitching. He needs some stitching in his clothing. All right, let's add a bit more. Yeah, he needs a lot more shadows and stitching in his clothing. So I welcome everyone to the stream. Welcome, welcome. We'll be working on Falco for a while. So I'm gonna go in for a bit more of a darker gray. Start giving some shadows underneath the elbow. He doesn't, okay, he actually needs some just a little bit here in his shoulder area and around the collar. The collar needs it a little bit more. All right, and while we're here, his belt also needs some little bit more detail. Hopefully you guys can see that. It needs some stitching. So it does need a little bit more stitching in his belt. Even just that makes it look a lot better. And again, I'm using a blend of the old school Star Fox team and some of the new school, which is superly over detailed. So let's add some shadows with a soft airbrush. Soft airbrush. You need a soft airbrush right underneath so it can look like there's some depth. Freaking mosquito in here. All right, so let's add some shadow in his collar. And I'm adding a bit more shadows everywhere that needs. Give it a bit more depth. Under his neck for sure. Okay, that's looking a lot better. That's looking so much better. All right, so let's see. And now I'm gonna work on his feathers. His feathers need a little bit more detail. So let's go for the technical pen. I'm gonna add some darkness in just to kind of make them look like they're individual feathers. That's a little bit. I've been individually adding highlights will also make them stand out a little bit more. Right, and a little bit on his backside. I'm going in for some shadows. All right, cool. So I'm liking that so far. I'll be adding a bit more stitching in his jacket, and I think I'm good to go after I do a little bit of his legs. I'm gonna do some rivet, some zipper type of detail on him. Okay, so his pants also need a bit more detail too. So I'm gonna go in for a darker color of an orange, and that'll help it blend in easier. So I'm adding a bit more of some wrinkles in the clothing. That's also gonna help it bring it together. More stitchings. All right, so even that's already making it look a lot more detailed. Well, I'm liking that so far. Now I'm gonna make it a little bit brighter. Add some highlights in there as well. They do need to balance out some of those highlights with, I mean, the shadows with some of these highlights as well. All right, and since I'm here, I'm gonna go with a dark. Right, there needs to be a cast shadow where his boots are. Might as well start making some highlights in this as well. Okay, so his leg, his mechanical legs definitely need some detail for sure. I was actually going off of the old school designs for the legs to simplify them, but I feel like it needs a little bit more detail. All right, let's see. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Falco. Falco's almost complete. All right. Okay, so his jacket definitely needs a little bit more detail. All right, so so all right, let's finish his jacket. Let's zoom in one more time. Let's make some of these, it's a little bit brighter. Like I feel like he needs some kind of patches on his shoulder. I'm just gonna add some random patches because he does need some. Let me see what I added for Fox. Let's see what I added for Fox to make. Okay, so I kind of just skipped Fox entirely. He doesn't need too much. He doesn't need too much. I will add some wrinkles though. I will add some wrinkles. Add a little bit more gray. A little bit of black just to balance out. And I will be adding some stitching as well. Yeah, I think he doesn't need much. He doesn't really need much. Yeah, I'm gonna use the liquify tool to fix an issue right here. There's a little off right here. There you go. That looks better. That looks so much better. That looks so much better. Okay, let's see. I add. I just don't want to overdo it. So I don't know if I should add that thing in the back of Falco's head. I'm not sure just yet. I feel like everyone has one. So even Peppy has one. So let me just work on his leg. I'm just gonna work on his leg. I'm gonna add. They are very mechanical, so I'm going for the old school Star Fox look as well. And add some random lines. And let's go in for some highlights. All right. Yeah, I'm keeping it simple for his legs. I'm keeping it super, super simple. Okay, so that's it for Falco. Let's move on. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that very quickly with that visor thing that he has for his face. Let's do a dark gray first. I'm gonna do a very quick one. I'm gonna do something super quick. Super quick. And it's going for a darker black. Turn down the transparency. Let's add a bit of these lights that it has. Highlights. Super duper highlights in here. Now to make sure that it blends in, eventually I will add some of the blues that are in the sky. Add some shadows. All right, all right. All right, let's add some purples in here from the sky, from the space. Right, there you go. That looks better. That looks so much better. All right, let's go for peppy hair. Peppy hair. Okay, now let's go with Peppy. Okay, let's fix his eyes. Let's see if he needs anything to be fixed with his eyeballs. Let's see. He does have very droopy eyes. So that's actually pretty okay. I also don't want to make him look like he's just sad. It up a bit. I'm gonna make his eyes a little bit bigger, a little bit brighter. So he's the positive one of the group, and he's to be the leader of the old Star Fox team. So right, so I'm gonna add a bit more of like hairs. I feel like he needs a little bit more hairs in his not too much. We just need a little bit more hairs just to make it a little bit more interesting. And I'm mixing it up with the variety and the variety in the hair color. I'll be blending this in well. And I'll also be using some of the hair brushes as well. Let's just go into his ears and just make sure some of that comes out a little bit more. All right, cool. So even just that made him look a lot better. That looks freaking cool. Yeah, that looks way better. Oh, oh, something's bugging me right here. I need to fix. I need to fix this. There you go. What was bugging me? I'm gonna leave him as is and not make anything in his eye. I don't think he needs it. Don't think he needs it. I will add a little bit of detail in his legs though. Well, he does kind of need that. And since I'm using black, I'm going to work on his belt too, since I'm already here. All right, now let's go for a little bit of some medium tones. Some highlights. All right, yeah, that looks better. That looks way better. And I will be adding a little bit more detail in his jacket. Add some more shadows in here. Definitely need some shadows. This, I'm going to use a soft airbrush to fill in these shadows for this one. This is going to look a lot nicer and just complete shadow for the most part. I might as well just start adding some shadows where it needs to be. All right, cool. Now I'm liking how he looks. He looks way better, and I didn't even have to add as much detail as I was expecting, so that's pretty cool. Okay, I'm just gonna add a little bit more stitching in his clothing. That's about it for Epi. Add some buttons. I do want to add a little bit more hair in his. Go to recent. Yeah, that looks so much better. So much better. Just a little bit more in his clothing. I'm going to keep it super simple. Right? He looks cool now. He looks super cool. Now the final one's gonna be Slippy Toad, everyone's hated character. A lot of people's hated character, even though I really like him. Because he can be super, super annoying. He can be really annoying. Can be an annoying character though. Welcome everyone to the stream. You're welcome to chat as I'm drawing, talking about video games, especially Star Fox, one of my favorite franchises ever. Nintendo 64, especially. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the time-lapse replay and see how everything looks from beginning to end. And the final one's going to be Slippy Toad. If you are enjoying what you see, hit that like button, please. That will help me out so much for my channel. All right. Okay, so let me go and fast forward some of this and see how it actually looks like. That's Fox. Look at Crystal first. There's Crystal. And again, this is a parody off of the old Star Wars poster. Oh, and there you go. Now I'm zooming into Falco. A little bit pixelated, but those are all the changes that you see right here. Cool. Let's go for Slippy Toad. I think I kept his red hat from the original, but I might. Yeah, he looks better with his red hat. Okay, let's see what I can do with him. See what I can do with Slippy. Right, Slippy Toad. Let's fix his wrench. Let's just go for a simple wrench. Add some highlights. Add some. We're gonna add some nice deep shadows in here. Since I'm already in here with his arms, his fingers, I'm gonna add some shadows in there to make sure we can see his individual fingers, his thumb. Right, let's add a little bit of darker green. Let's start working in. Yeah, let's go for his eyes now. Let's go for his eyeball. Okay, so he has a light blue around his eyes. So let's do that. And let's make this a little bit bigger. You know what? I think we need to make his eyeballs bigger. Let's go to the liquify tool and let's go to expand. See how that looks like. There you go. We made him bulgier. There we go. That looks better. That looks so much better. It's more like a little kid, but better. I'm gonna make sure he smiles. I'm gonna use the liquify tool one more time. coat. All right, yeah, he's looking a little bit better now. Way better than what I have. Right, he needs a deeper red for the shadow. And it looks like he does have a sign, almost like a logo for his. I'm gonna simplify it though. I'm gonna simplify it. It does say Slippy on there, so I'm just gonna use a darker blue instead. I'm gonna use. What did I use? The white. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm keeping it super simple. Let's add a little bit more stitching in his clothing, like I did with the others. A little darker. And then when I go in with some stitching, we're just gonna, this time it does need some shadows in here. Make sure the colors really stand out. Okay, so far I'm liking how that looks like. Let's go for some darker red shadows for his scarf. You know what? He does need push down. Actually, that's gonna look a little weird. Let's make it bigger. There you go. That looks better. And let me go in with some soft airbrushing. All right, a bit more shadows in his clothing. His legs, they look a little weird. Don't look like they match. And I feel like he needs something else. He does probably need oh yeah, a bit more of right. So I'm adding a little bit more detail where it needs to have it. Highlights. And I think I'd say a little bit more stitching in the clothing. Medium tones, light. Okay, now his skin texture needs a little bit more, a little bit something. So go to the material. Yeah, the old skin kind of does look like rough. I mean, frog skin. So just even a little bit of that will give it a nice something. But yeah, that's actually some good frog texture, skin texture. All right, now let's look at the full replay in its entirety and see if we can add anything else. Time lapse replay. Let's do this thing. Okay, cool. We are an hour 35 minutes in. Let's see how it looks. See how that looks. All right, so let's look at the time lapse replay. Easier to see. You know what? I think his laser is the last, probably one of the last things that it needs to really make things pop. So I make a new layer, a new lighting layer. Let's go to luminous light pen. We're gonna make. Let's try it out. No, the pen isn't doing it. Put a light brush. Let's see if I erase some of this. It might actually come together. these light rays. We'll see. All right, so I'm gonna do some erasing and let's see if that softens it up a little bit. Oh yeah, that looks better, way better. I feel like some of the pieces of need a little bit highlights as well. Just a little bit, and this is gonna really make it seem like there's a huge laser beam. Adding some to her staff. All right, cool. Now that looks pretty sick, right? See if Fox needs any more. Turn down this light. All right, let's see if that looks better. All right, so see what we can do with. I'm gonna see if I need to do anything else with Android. Let's find a picture of Andros. Let's see if I need to do anything with him. This is Andros. I'm wondering, I think I can add a lot more detail in his face, but I'm gonna play it safe and go here and do a blend mode eventually. Hmm. I'm gonna go super subtle just to make sure that he can actually be seen. And then I am gonna play around with one of the background layers just to kind of blend it in as smooth as I can. Actually, that looks a lot better. That's way better. That's looking a lot better. See if that shows up a lot easier or a lot better or a lot clearer. Green. All right, let's see what else I can do. What else I can do. That planet, what is it? Z. That one's clear enough. I think, let me see. I think she just needs to be in shadow a little bit more. And that's a All right, let's go one more time with time lapse. All right, let's look at crystal. Yeah, that looks so much better. So much better. All right, so I feel like I'm almost done. Let me see if I can do anything with. Look at all the layers. I have so many layers. So many layers. I feel like I've always wanted to do the Great Fox. Maybe I'll add him on the side eventually. That'd be cool if I added the Great Fox in the background. get them out of the glare. Let's see if it looks better because all right, I'll be right back. Be right back. All right, so I'm back. I'm gonna do one last final pass through. All right, so let's see what else I can do. Finish this. It needs a little bit something. It needs a little bit more to finish. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see what else I can do. See this background. Maybe just fix that a little bit. Soften that up a little bit. Okay, there's some weird looking. A lot of these are just suggestion of a forest and buildings. Or this satellite thing right here is looking a little off. I'm gonna soften it a little bit. All right, yes, I'm complete. I finally finished. Now it feels like a complete piece. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye bye. I'm complete. It is complete.